Hello everyone, welcome back to the Curious Shelf. You are joining me on another balmy hot day in Brussels. It's kind of like cooled, but not that much. I think we're still in the 80s Fahrenheit, somewhere like that. I think in the US, North America, 80 Fahrenheit. It cooled a little bit. It's going to be cool hopefully this weekend, and then next week we're climbing back towards the 90s again. Yay! So I'm so sorry I haven't been uploading videos because it's hot. I'm making mistakes when I make videos. I realize that, and then I forget, and it's really warm basically. So I'm struggling a bit here in this heat, and whenever I film, like if I open all the windows, it's really noisy. So I have to film closed windows, and it's just, yeah. Okay, so you can imagine. So thank you for bearing with me. I'll stop complaining now. Welcome to new subscribers. Welcome back to existing subscribers. This is the Curious Shelf in hot, balmy Bahamas, Brussels. I mean, marine over at the waves of your soul. I mean, I'm just feeling your ocean energy right now. I'm just trying to imagine it. But without further ado, let me jump into this week's video. So yes, you guessed by the title that I have picked up on a tag that Tiara, Princess of Wands, my friend Carrie over in the Netherlands, she tagged me about this. And it's just a set of prompts. I believe the original video is over from Simon at the Hermit's Cave. So thank you very much, Simon, for these prompts. And yeah, I thought I'd just join in because Carrie had tagged me, and it's just a bunch of fun all about tarot. If you're not doing Tarot Tube and you still want to make comments about your first tarot decks and whatever the prompts as I go along them, please just put them in the comments below. You're always welcome to join in. And at the end of this, I'm going to be tagging another 3 tarot tubers to continue the tag and have them talk about their journey. So this is the tag all about Tarot 2022, and it has been created by Simon over at the Hermit's Cave. So jumping straight in, your first deck and how you encountered it. So my first deck is the Paulina Tarot. This is apart from the classic RWS, which was also my first deck. It was all very surreal, all very spooky and magical. Not so much actually. My first tarot deck was picked off Amazon. Over here, we just don't have that many metaphysical shops. The ones we do are just really overpriced. And I went onto Amazon and I picked up a few decks, I think 4 or 5, and this was one of them. But this is what I consider my first tarot deck because this is the one that just, made me love tarot basically. So these are the cards from the Paulina Tarot. The author and the creator is Paulina Faye, aka Paulina Cassidy. This is a mass market US Games deck. I recall when I first picked it, it reminds me a lot of like greeting cards and those kind of like whimsical cards that I always loved, when I used to buy them when I was living in the UK. Cards here in Belgium are less popular, greeting cards, but in the UK, Hallmark is a big thing for us, just the same as the US. So anyway, I remember it invoked those kind of memories, and I wanted to get something that reminded me of my late teens, basically. And yeah, this deck was for me. Yeah, I think I bought it in 2014, and this deck I've read for many people, like when I started doing readings, friends and family, well, not so much family but friends. So yeah, so that's my encounter with my first tarot deck and the very magical space of Amazon. So there you go. And if you're starting off in tarot and you're going to be picking something off Amazon, it's fine, it's great. I think that it's great that these days they're so readily available, and you don't have to go to some dark corner alley somewhere and feel, I don't know, weird or creeped out. I mean, tarot is, I think, a really great medium. So there you go. Okay, so the next question, and bear with me, I am reading them off the phone. I'm so unprepared, I'm so sorry, but there you go. Okay, your last deck and how your tastes have changed. My last deck actually is another mass market. Oh, here it is, I picked it up for this video. It is the Zombie Tarot, as you can see here. I also ordered this off Amazon recently. It cost me like a good €15, less than €15, so it was a really good price. This is another mass market deck, and it's zombies basically. It's based on the 1950s B movies. I know many people find it fun, and that's why I picked it up. So the question is, how have tastes changed? And to be quite honest with you, my tastes haven't changed. I think the better way to put it is that my horizons have expanded. So I'm more likely to pick decks that maybe 3 or 4 years ago I wouldn't have, but I didn't really have access to that many decks until a couple of years ago. And so during the pandemic, I came back to tarot through a friend who'd done a reading for me. It was all that was definitely very magical. I've also received, in the last few years, again through friends, and they drew me back to tarot, was I'm always offered angel readings. I don't know how else to tell you this, but I get offered angel readings, angel prayers, like offered them very nicely by people. I think it was those from the angel realm who've also helped me to understand how to really use my gift well and take care of it. I'm somebody that really does try and do that. So I'm going off tangent here. It was the zombie tarot. My tastes haven't changed. They've just expanded. That's about it. I love this deck. Now, I think I was a bit wary of buying it, but now I get it a little bit more. It's fun. It's quirky. It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. I like decks that do that. I like decks that invoke all kinds of moods. And so, in this hot summer, this is my summer ghoul deck this year. And I've been kind of like just, trying to dip into it and enjoy it. Okay, so the next question, bear with me. Okay, so what's the next question here? We have, why tarot? Why not? I have known of tarot since I was a teenager. I didn't understand the history of the background of it then. When I came to tarot in 2014, though, I did actually make the conscious effort to understand its context and where it comes from. And it really fitted into my own development, which has been going on since about 15 years, basically. So I think that tarot at that point just was part of the journey. It was just something, I'd already begun to do visual meditations, path working, using other forms, other mediums, other channels. I'm someone also that I've also said this, I think, already on the channel, but my clair abilities, as they're called, were there since I was a child. They are very, very specific. I've heard other people describe how perhaps they heard things or so forth. Mine are specific. It's not in the same manner. I don't want to really go into it too much, but they were there since I was a child. I knew that it was something wonderful. I didn't really talk about it, but it's always been a magical world for me anyway, my clair abilities. And then, my studies and what I later on just passionately have always taken up is all, a reflection of that. Everything outside of what I did outside of my professional life. So tarot was really just part of the flow of life. I am very, very careful and appreciative of its background from the 14th century. Also, before then, there's very much, I think, a discussion within the tarot community of tarot began here and it's only from here and this was how it began, without taking into context the global world order of the 15th and the 14th century. Once you do that, it actually has a much wider context. And I'm not saying that all of a sudden it's from another part of the world, but context really matters to me, the historical context. I am a historian by trade. So it's really, really important for me to understand secondary sources and primary sources. A lot of literature right now that people rely upon are secondary sources, they're not the primary. And I always say that to understand the truth of the matter, we must go back to the primary. So for me, tarot is just a wonderful space where I've seen its evolution and interpretation over 4 centuries, and I'm really interested in where it goes next. And so that's why tarot. I am also heavily interested in other forms. I won't go into it all now, but it's to do with my clair abilities. And so tarot is not my only medium. That I will clearly say. Okay. Pet peeves, number 4, pet peeves. I think pet peeves is really for me, I need to be careful how I say this, but it's lack of research, it's lack of study. It's just such a pet peeve for me. I think that today we are just, all of us are getting so accustomed to information being churned out very quickly, and it needs to be tweetable or Instagrammable, or, you know, all of these small short forms, which I understand, you know, it's how the world is evolving. But a pet peeve of mine, and it comes back to the point before, is that the context is lost. Something that I personally don't like is all the whole keyword thing. Like, this is the keyword, and you know, I've had people say like, the hangman, the keyword is surrender. It's all about surrender. I'm like, surrender is interesting, but there's actually a lot more beef to it. You know, there's perspective, the fact that it's a water element. How does it go into that flow? How is it that, you know, you have the figure in the RWS, the way it's drawn? What do you see? How does it connect to the other elements and so forth? Why is it that, you know, it's one of the water cards, you know, in that sense? So that's why, and how does it react with the suit of cups? So, you know, that's just one example how a richness of a card is sometimes lost because people just want the keyword. And sometimes I sit there thinking, well, then why don't you just create a set of keywords and be done with that? And that's your tarot deck, because that's it, you know. And one could, but for me, because of the imagery and today's art forms, the imagery is I don't want to use, I was going to say the word sensual, which sounds a bit weird now, but you know, it's kind of like, you know, how the French have it with their food, with the different subtleties of taste and the smells and the way that's eaten. And, you know, and I'm not French, but like I've been to plenty of French weddings and so forth. And the way that they, you know, they treat the whole space of dining. It's not just food, but dining, and the ambiance. It's just a part of enjoying that moment. And for me, tarot has that. So, you know, a key word for me, sometimes it's kind of like, you know, it feels a bit like a McDonald's. And I'm like, no, please, please, please don't make it a McDonald's. Like, we have so much richness in here. So I'm in a bit of a rant, but there you go. Okay, so the next one after pet peeve. Favorite tarot spread? I don't have one. I'm not a spread person, really. I learned through an astro tarot mechanism, which really changed. Well, that's actually why tarot. It's because, you know, I'm first and foremost an astrology person, and tarot was used by someone, and an astrology person, and I saw how she was using the cards and the whole, you know, the whole gamut, and how everything started to flow from there. So, you know, I don't have a spread as such, because I feel like sometimes that can really box everything in, and I really like to see a flow of energy, especially the context and the situation. But if I did have a favorite tarot spread, it's either a set of waterfalls, which are very fun to do, or you know, the classic Celtic cross. I think it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful, and I think underrated and underappreciated, actually. Okay, your preferred tarot system. I think that I think stuttering there. Anna of Astral Lady had once said it in a video of hers, and I think she said something like, I might be wrong, paraphrasing, that really they come down to one system actually, and it's the Golden Dawn. And I kind of like agree with it. What I don't want to do though is just mash them all up. I like the Marseille as a Marseille, and the RWS is the RWS, and then the Golden Dawn as it sits, and then the Thoth. And the reason why I say it is because the pictorial form is actually giving me messages. So, you know, the Thoth, I think, is highly underrated and under-researched, because unless like a fast food is printed and given out, people don't want to do the investigation. But the investigation is a colonial look at esoteric forms, very specifically. So that's why I find it interesting. It is not actually esoteric forms, it's a colonial investigation of it. And so, Aleister Crowley. So that's why I'm very, very careful, because each of the system is showing me and telling me something about its creators and its artists and the group that were formed as they were making it. You know, with the Marseille and the older decks, you know, the ones, I think Carrie has a set of them. They're beautiful. You know, currently I'm looking at the Marseille and I'm doing a real deep investigation into that. But for me, it's really, really important that I really love the system in its original form. I think that's becoming very important to me. And then I like the variations. Okay, so the answer to that question is appreciating the nuances of each system is important rather than I prefer this system. Okay, how do you, tarot rituals. I don't really have specific sets of rituals. I think different from many others. I cleanse my decks. I say chants over them. I do have blessings to go with them. I do sometimes invoke a goddess that has come into my life, not the one I picked. I have ones from before when I was a child, but there's one that's recently shown herself to me. I invoke that energy and ask for the blessings of that goddess, that deity, because it just feels natural. I believe that decks can be charged with an energy, especially of the last reading, so to be very careful to cleanse them. My decks are personified. You probably noticed that in the channel, because that's what they are to me. So a specific part of the ritual is to understand the personality of the deck as well, and to have that relationship. Okay. How do you use tarot? Introspection or divination? A bit of both. That's what I'm going to say. Your significator card and why you feel it represents you. So for this particular task, let me get out the Darkwood Tarot. The Darkwood Tarot by Sarah Graham and Abigail Lawson. I have been missing this deck. I originally did a deep dive for it in October, and I have to say, I can't wait to get her out again. I love this deck. I didn't love it originally, and now it's grown on me. These are the backs, and I really love this deck. Look at this one. So anyway, the significator card, and I just have to first find her. Where is she? Come on, my dear, come on. This deck is just amazing. I mean, look at that Hanged Man. And you've got to read Sasha Graham's writing. Anyway, I like it. Empress. You see, she's not classic to me. Sasha Graham, to me, personally, is not classic, but I appreciate her approach. So, you know, it's really just the joy of appreciating each and every nuance. Where is she? Wow, look at that Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, so let me find it. Because, oh, there she is. She's right at the back, of course. It is the Queen of Wands. That's my significator. I'm a fire moon, and as a fire moon, my moon energy has really become very strong in my crone years, kind of thing. I'm going towards crone, not crone, sorry. I'm going towards the mother area of my life, the older mother kind of thing. So the Queen of Wands is really becoming very, very strong in my life. You know, as I said, I'm a fire moon, and she, you know, she's very outspoken. Sometimes it can be quite a bit too blunt. Not towards the Queen of Swords, but a little bit. Yeah, there's a fire, there's a smokiness. You know, they will keep burning. Her words keep burning, and I identify that. I'm also a Scorpio sun, so you know I have a lot of fieriness in me because of the Phoenix. You know, because I can feel it sometimes coming out. And yeah, I really like this card. I really like the salamander in the original. Of course, here we have a little black cat, perfect for someone like me. But yeah, I really love the Queen of Wands. Okay, then the next question is, most expensive tarot acquisition. I can't recall several of them. The ones that come from, they don't come from a prepaid custom system, basically from the EU. If I have to get them from the creator, it gets very, very expensive. Easily, I don't know, you know, decks are around 120 for me in euros, because I've had to have them brought in. I'm just trying to think of one off the top of my head. Those are all from indie shops within the EU, so they don't count really. But I mean, I don't know, like the Shimmering Veil is 90 euros, I think, or something like that. And there was one that cost 120 after I paid all the taxes and everything. So it was really, really pricey. I can't remember which one it was. Oh, and yeah, and I've also bought the Forager's Daughter, which was quite expensive, but it actually still worked out cheaper than this time than the Etsy. But I don't know how with the Kickstarter deal. It just worked out a bit cheaper, I think, but that was a fluke. Let's put it that way. unicorn deck, the deck that's so hard to find. I don't have one yet, but I know it will appear in my life, but it's not there yet. What's the most important lesson the tarot has taught you? Tarot has taught me a great deal of opening my mind even further, appreciating everybody's approach to tarot, and just embracing it and learning how others approach tarot is always going to be a learning for me. Not that I completely agree with it or anything, always kind of thing, but it's always a learning. That I appreciate. I also appreciate the variance and the nuances in the community. Some people might like tarot and astrology. For some, it's tarot and crystals, and tarot and drawing and collaging, and tarot and painting, and all of these beautiful creativity gifts. With me, it's writing and astrology that are really a core part of my tarot journey as well, and different areas. But yeah, it's really taught me to see things from different perspectives. Also, the way decks are made, and sometimes I don't always agree with it, but I do still appreciate, decks that are made in ways that I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I could read with that deck, but to then see somebody talk about how they love that deck opens my mind. So yeah. Tarot dinner party guests, 1 guest of honor and 2 other guests. I'm just going to tag them below. Also tag Carrie, of course, who invited me to do this tag. But yeah, I'm going to tag 3 people below. Would love to hear your response to this tag. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for bearing with me in this heat. I'm going to leave you with some images of the Darkwood Tarot. Just looking at these images cools me down. Yeah, I really appreciate this deck actually more and more. So, again, it's open-mindedness, right? And I love this pop of red within the grays and the browns. This is not my normal color palette, but I love it here. So yeah, really enjoying this deck actually, and great Llewellyn cardstock. I like Llewellyn card. I like Llewellyn box decks basically, but yeah, I love Llewellyn cardstock, and yeah, just really enjoying this actually. I can't wait to get her out and start reading with her like ASAP, because I'm like waiting for the summer to be over, because we are going to go through about 6 months of like autumn and winter, and they are pretty grey in Belgium. So I'm trying to really appreciate this heat that we have, appreciate it. But just like the alchemical, I'm looking forward to that flow of cool air coming in, and balancing things out a little bit. And I mean, look at the pages in this deck. I like decks where there's so much expression, Look at that troll, 4 of Wands. I actually like trolls. Great Justice card, very powerful. And look, I really like I like the wands in this deck quite a bit actually. So on that note, I'm going to leave you for today, and thank you for joining with me, and see you hopefully soon in the next few days. Take care now, bye.